Donc, bonjour, bienvenue. Aujourd'hui, c'est le mercredi 19 mai. Donc voilà, donc I can talk about a vacation I took. Je suis allé. I can understand a brief text. OK? Donc on va commencer avec un échauffement. Et puis on va parler de tes vacances et un voyage imaginaire et puis des questions de calendrier. OK, donc si tu pouvais voyager et passer une semaine n'importe où dans le monde, où irais-tu? Où irais-tu? Donc, si tu pouvais voyager, si tu allais voyager, faire un voyage n'importe où dans le monde pendant une semaine, où irais-tu? OK, donc si tu pouvais aller n'importe où dans le monde, on irait en Espagne, en Grèce, en Italie, à la ville de Mexique, d'accord? OK. Ouais. OK. Donc, tes vacances. OK? Donc aujourd'hui, je vous ai demandé de réfléchir, de penser, okay, de réfléchir à des vacances que tu as faites. Okay? Donc s'il vous plaît, dans votre cahier d'activité, écris en anglais 3 phrases ou plus où tu décris des vacances que tu as faites dans le passé. Okay? So what I'd like you to do is, for today, I've asked you to think about this, right? To think about a trip you took. And maybe it's not very far away. It doesn't have to be very far away, right? It could be just to Milwaukee or something, right? It doesn't have to be very far. But think about a trip you took that you really remember pretty well. Okay, it's important that you remember it well. And write a few sentences about where you went and kind of what you did. Okay, just 3 sentences in English. And then you're going to put some images on the next slide. Okay. And once you've done that, I'll ask you to take screen caps and submit them here on Canvas. And I'll send you a link to that. But for now, I would love for you to think, okay, what's a trip that you've taken? So for me, I could say, I went to, I'm trying to think of a good example. I went to Chicago. I went to the museum. I saw art. I saw works of art. And it was cold. I don't know. Okay? So it doesn't have to be very elaborate. You know, if you want to give a little bit more, great. You know, the more the better. But really just 3 basic sentences about where you went and what you did. And then maybe if I was talking about Chicago and seeing art and the museum, maybe I would put in a photo of the museum, the Art Institute of Chicago, or something like that. Or maybe a photo of me, right, in Chicago. It doesn't have to be my photos. It could be photos just from the internet. Okay. So please take a moment to think about this and respond to this. And then once you've done that, go ahead and take screenshots and submit them right up here, En Vacances 1. And I'll send you a link to this. Okay. Okay, so please do finish up that activity tonight if you haven't already submitted it. Let's go ahead and go through this just a little bit, okay? And I'll ask you for some help. So here we had this activity and we'll understand it better, okay, by the end of the unit. But just real quick, I'm imagining some people might have some questions about it. So here we have so we have the text message from an imaginary friend, like pretending like we just made a friend who speaks French, okay? And they texted us. So in these messages, your friend is talking about a trip to Morocco, learning how to swim, life in France, or how to cook tagine. Which one is she talking about?
A trip to Morocco.
Yeah, she's talking about a trip to Morocco, right? And how did you know that? Yeah, so SLT, she starts with SLT, right? SLT, and then there's the hand. So what does it mean? And somebody said salut, and it does. It does. Where do you think you might? Okay, yeah, so salut. We talked about some examples in English, like THX for thanks, or UR instead of your. How about this one? In this message, your friend is talking about a trip she took in the past, something she's doing in the present, or a trip she wants to take in the future. A trip in the past, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. And how did you know that? Yeah, so we looked at dernier as kind of last, and été, summer, so last summer. Somebody talked about derrière, which is actually different, but it still works, right? It still works. So in the past, yeah, it's in the past. Okay, and then finally, in her messages, what does she not mention? She doesn't mention one of these things. Seeing lots of things, eating fish and tagine, going swimming with friends, or her fear of heights. Fear of heights, yeah, her fear of heights. She does not mention this, okay? And how did you know that? Okay, so we talked about how the other answers were less logical because she mentioned something about swimming. She mentioned something about tagine, right? Seeing things. We didn't talk about seeing things, but we talked about swimming. So we talked about how there are these emoji. We know nager, to swim. Some people knew that verb, to swim. Even if you didn't know that verb though, maybe you could use the emoji to kind of think about it. Somebody's saying, oh, they're fish. Maybe she's swimming with the fish, right? And then we talked about, okay, well, talking about what she ate. Oh, well, manger is to eat. Poisson, fish, right? And I asked folks if they knew tagine. Tagine is that spice that we love. That's got like chili and lime. It's really good on like watermelon and pineapple and mango. But this is different. This is a Moroccan tagine, which is a device that you use to cook like a stew. It's like a slow cooker, and it's really, really good. And something I mentioned, I just want to mention in the recording, is my job, the way I see it, is not to teach you everything, not to teach you a bunch of vocabulary to memorize, but to help you make meaning, to help you understand, okay, well, you can understand 30, 40% of this. Cool. How can you use that 40% to then put the pieces together to understand most of it, to understand the gist? Because for me, that is much more useful, much more powerful than teaching you a list of vocabulary or something like that. So yeah. All right, finally, right here, her very first message. T'as fait quoi l'été dernier? We talked about été dernier, last summer. T'as fait quoi l'été dernier? What do you think she's asking there, and what was your answer? Okay, excellent. So again, that was an activity, a diagnostic, just to kind of see where you're at with this. And so by the end of the unit, all this stuff will be much more familiar to you. And that text will seem a lot more understandable, a lot easier to understand, I think. Ok, un voyage imaginaire. Je suis allé au Maroc. Je suis allé au Marrakech, où j'ai exploré la Médina, la vieille ville. Je suis allé à Essaouira, où j'ai fait du surf. Okay. Okay, so where did Mr. Hare go? So we've got this little text that I wrote, mostly true. Je suis allé au Maroc. Je suis allé au Marrakech. Oui. Where did Mr. Hare go? Morocco. Yeah, Maroc. So we're still talking about Maroc. Morocco, okay? Yeah. Where else did he go? Or I guess. Right? So we went to Morocco. Did he go anywhere else or just Morocco? Okay, we'll see. We'll come back. What did he do in Morocco? Yeah, surfing. Okay, Mr. Hare surfed. Okay, doing surfing. Exploring. Okay, exploring. Yeah, surfing and exploring. Okay, yeah. So we've got explorer. We can kind of guess. Okay, maybe it's kind of like in English, to explore. Surf. Right, surfing. Okay. I did not go surfing in Essaouira. My dad is a surfer. I am not a surfer though. So I didn't technically do that. Okay, so is this text talking about the past, the present, or the future? And see if you can find some clues. Okay, so is this the past, the present, or the future? So we found some clues. It is the past. Okay, it is the past. And we found some clues. Somebody circled aller, which is great. Somebody circled, underlined j'ai exploré. Yeah. Je suis allé, j'ai exploré, j'ai fait. Okay. Je suis allé, j'ai exploré, j'ai fait. And it's really great that you circled this and you underlined this. Okay, here are some other clues. Here's a map of Morocco, just so you know, okay? So we've got Casablanca. So maybe you know the famous film, Casablanca. Really, really old film, okay? And you've got Marrakesh, which is a big, big, big city. And then Essaouira, which is right on the coast. Okay? And it's just south of Spain, so it's really, really close to Spain. Yeah. So tomorrow, we'll talk a little bit more about this. We'll look at another text tomorrow in the passé composé, in the past, and we'll try to break down, okay, well, what's happening here? How does this work? So that you can better understand some of this stuff and maybe even express yourself. I'm gonna go ahead and clear annotation. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Okay, donc pour demain. Pour demain, so for tomorrow, finish that activity where you're writing about your vacation and you're uploading that to Canvas. Hopefully you finished that in class. If you didn't, you'll have just a little bit more work tonight. For tonight, pour demain, trouve un pays où on parle français et identifie une activité au minimum que tu voudrais faire là-bas. Okay. We'll work on this a little bit tomorrow. It's not due until Thursday. This is incorrect. Okay, this is incorrect. This due date is incorrect, okay? But what I'm asking you to do, trouve un pays où on parle français, identifie une activité minimum que tu voudrais faire là-bas. Okay? So there is a link. Hop, accepter, fermer. There's a link. Okay, and this is all in French. It might be a little bit overwhelming, but most important is this map. Okay, most important is this map. What do you think this map is showing us? And it's an interactive map. So you can move it around.
Like cyan kind of blue is like where French is like the first official language, and then purple is like it's a second language or co-language.
You got it. Yeah, so we're looking at where French is the official language or the second language. And just looking at the world, what do you see? You see France for sure in Europe, but where else is French spoken?
Various parts of Africa that were colonized.
Yeah, various parts of Africa, so Western and Central Africa that were colonized, right? This isn't just random. It didn't just randomly happen. Okay. Imperialism, colonization. Where else?
Canada.
Yeah, Canada, especially this part of Canada. It's all purple, but really it's mostly this part. Not too far from where we live, where French is spoken, okay? So what am I asking you to do for tomorrow? I'm asking you to go to this map. What am I asking you to do with it? I didn't hear anything. Picking a country. Yeah, picking a country. So finding a country. So maybe it's Canada. Maybe it's New Guinea. Okay. What are you going to do then? So you're looking for a country. You get to choose, right? You're choosing a country or a region. And then what? Trouve un pays où on parle français. Find a country where people speak French. Et identifie une activité au minimum que tu voudrais faire là-bas. What am I asking you to do then once you've found the country? So you're exploring, you're looking at the different countries. You can choose whatever you want, right? You get to make a choice. Maybe you're going with like Belgium. So let's pick Cameroon. Okay, I'm going to click on Cameroon. And then I thought I could find more information, but what am I asking you to do then once you've picked the country? So I pick Cameroon. I'm asking you to identifier une activité que tu voudrais faire là-bas. What am I asking you to do with the country? Identify what? Find activities you could do in that country. Yeah, okay. So find activities you could do. So at least one activity. Okay, at least one activity. So really, you can't find the activity here. You'll want to look on the map and choose a country. I chose Cameroon. And then you'll want to just Google Activité Cameroun. You can Google that. Activité Belgique, things like that, right? Okay. And once you've done that, je veux aller en Cameroun. So I would say, if I were picking Cameroon, I'll put it in the chat. Je veux aller au Cameroun. For that one, je veux aller au Cameroun. Pendant ce séjour, je veux, so during this trip, je veux, what do I want to do? Maybe I want to go to Douala, okay? Okay. And you can look at a little bit more information about it using the pictures as kind of clues and stuff. Okay. So you're kind of building out an imaginary trip that you'd want to take. All right. Okay, and then real quick before we end, I would love any questions. Does anybody have any questions for me about the kind of plan for the next few weeks? So we're currently here. Okay, if there are no questions about the last few weeks, I will go ahead and let you get to work. And then I will see you tomorrow. Au revoir, à demain.